evening, welcome. It's Leicester Fan TV here. My name's Phil. We're here for the next half an hour. We want your views, we want your comments. Obviously, we lost yesterday at home against Manchester City, 2-0. Good performance, bad result. Next week, and we've got Villa trip. We're halfway through the season now, 19 games gone, and I want to know, what do you think to the season so far? If we carry on at this rate, we will not stay up. So the questions have to be asked, and most importantly, who and when are we going to make some transfer signings? Because that January transfer window opens very, very shortly. So I want your views. I want your comments. I'm putting a link into the comments now for you to click on if you want to come on camera and let me know your views. If not, get your comments in and we'll get as many on screen in the next half hour. We need your views. We want your comments.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow Leicester Fan TV on all socials.
Yes, good evening, welcome. It is the Monday Night Fan Zone show. You can follow us wherever you want at Leicester Fan TV, of course. But let's get as many comments in as you can tonight as possible. Don't forget, I put the link on screen and it's in there. So if you want to click on and give us your views, that would be great. I want to get as many people on as possible tonight. Dawn says, good evening, hope you're well. Richie says, good evening. A very good performance by Leicester City against Manchester City. Now, Richie says that, and it was a good performance. It was it the best performance of the year? I don't know. I'd probably say the win against Bournemouth was probably better, but what do you think to it? The result really is what matters at the end. Did we let it slip yesterday? That's what I want to know. Good performance, but bad result. Man City had only got one draw in 8 games away in their last 8 games. It was there for us to maybe have a bit of a surprise draw, a surprise win. I don't know. A couple of missed chances, a couple of moments again of defensive, not really keeping on top of it. What did you think to yesterday's all-round? I mean, the result let us down. Jane says, good, not a good result, but a good performance in there. Jane, I've seen a lot of people saying if we play like this for the rest of the season, we'll be okay. The trouble is, as you know, as I know, 7 days before, we played very differently against Wolves, and who knows how we'll play at Villa. Scott, good evening. Hope you're well. Craig, hope you had a nice Christmas. Welcome to the show. Gary says here, we played well yesterday, but the season has been very poor. Just hope we do some business in the transfer window. Gary, I asked Reedy, here's a question for you and everybody else watching, Gary. I asked Reedy earlier in the office, listen, we're going to need to bring some signings in, maybe on loan, maybe not full transfers because of the situation we're in, who's going to want to come. But here's a question for you. I said, would you take somebody like Ben Chilwell, who can't get in the Chelsea squad? We know Enzo's there. We know Enzo and Rude are quite close and get on well. Would you take Ben Chilwell back on loan? Would he improve our defensive line? For me, I think he would. And he's the sort of player I think we could do with for 4 or 5 months to try and see if we get out of that. Would you take Ben Chilwell back? And are there any other players like that you can think of? Because that's what we're going to have to do. Andy says, great performance, but if you're into drink, don't take your chances. It means nothing. I agree. It's 0 points on the board yesterday. It's 4 defeats on the trot. It's a struggle. Clibo has clicked on the link. I'm going to add him in now. Good evening, mate. How are you?
I'm all right. Yourself?
Yeah, good. I've got you down as Clibo. That's your YouTube name? Is that your nickname as well, mate?
It is, yeah.
Brilliant. All right. Well,
it is.
Thanks. I know you've commented a lot of times. I think this is the first time you've clicked in, so it's great to have you come onto the show, mate.
Well, so I've been thinking, obviously, like everybody else, what do we need in the transfer market? And I think we all pretty much know, and it's going to be expensive. Now, given the situation with, the finances at Leicester and the trouble that we potentially could get ourselves in, if a large amount of money came in from Mads to fund that,
Yeah.
How many people would take that offer? Because I quite like Jakob. I think he's got a lot of improving to do, but I also think he's got a very high ceiling, and I do think he's very mature beyond his years. And yes, he did make a mistake the other day, but I also think defensively there was no cover for him, so it amplified the mistake. So I wouldn't beat him up too much about it. So that's my question.
Well, there, I'll put it on screen for you, Clivo. Thanks for that. Would you take a silly bid for Mads? And I guess, Clivo, what you mean is, if somebody like Chelsea, who Enzo likes Mads, we know that. If somebody like Chelsea said, well, we'll come in and give you, what's the silly bid that you would take? Are you talking 40, 50 million? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I think a minimum 50 million. I mean, the inflated market these days is stupid, and I don't care what anyone says. Whilst you're in the Premier League, you're entitled to be asking for those sort of prices. For somebody, his stats back it up. He's one of the best keepers in the Premier League.
I think he was.
And has improved massively last season. Sorry?
I think before his injury, he was number one stats for a keeper in the Premier League.
Yes, certainly. And, if you're the one selling, you've got to use those, you've got to use whatever stats you can produce. But I mean, I've heard people say that, he would potentially give you 10 points a season. But my throwback to that, my pushback rather, is if you could spend, given what we have probably got allocated already, if you could spend, say, 30, 40 million on defence, I also think that gives you potentially 10 points. And I don't think Skolarczyk is such a bad keeper that he's going to be making mistakes week in, week out. He's played 2 Premier League games against 2 of the best teams in Europe. All right, Man City are not playing their best at the moment, but on any given day, if they click, they wipe the floor with you. And there's a lot of pressure on a young lad, and I think he dealt with it really well. Against Liverpool, he made some outstanding saves.
Yeah.
Real saves that your average keeper wouldn't make.
I mean, Clibo, here, let's get some fan comments in to answer you. PFW watching on YouTube says, yes, would accept a silly bid if it means we can spend money on 1 or 2 solid defenders in there. Gary is saying, yeah, take 50 million for him. And Clibo, I want to ask you as well in a minute, when I've done a few comments about Ben Chilwell, for example, on loan, somebody like that. Scott says, do you see us selling Thomas, Chowdhury, Daka, Iverson, McAteer? Maybe, Scott, I think we could let 1 or 2 of those go. Whether we'll sell them, I think we'd have to loan them out because they'd all go championship level at best. Patrick says, if you sell Mads, you're trusting Rudkin to spend the money, which of course we are. Tony's saying no bids for Mads. Jakob cost us a goal yesterday. Ward 3 against Wolves. I just want to ask you, Clipper, about that because you mentioned about Jakob yesterday. The first goal, he had a really, really good game yesterday, I thought, in goal. Made a solid 6, 7 out of 10. But he did make that first goal. He does have to have some big responsibility there.
Of course. And, it's one of those positions where, it's not like if you make a mistake, if you're Jamie Vardy and you give the ball away, there's a lot of things that need to happen before a goal is conceded. Whereas the goalkeeper, you make one silly mistake, which we're all human, and it is amplified. It's if you make consistent mistakes. And I think, not to beat down on Ward, because I think we've all heard that the bashing, I don't think it's any good for anybody. He was making them consistently. So I think, yes, he needed to be, for his own good, taken out of the side completely. With Jakob, when he came in last season, didn't he have like 7 clean sheets out of 8 games or something ridiculous like that?
I think he's decent. I think he's a decent young lad, yeah.
With a great defence in front of him, I've had this argument with a Liverpool fan who said, Alisson's fantastic. He's way better than Mads. I genuinely had this argument. And I said, look at the defence that Alisson's got in front of him. Put him in a relegation team. Would he be doing the same thing? And I don't think so. Yeah. You're much more prone to making mistakes if your defence isn't of top quality. So, although I'm not defending the guy because, he did make the mistake. But again, down that right hand side, and it's been happening all season. And I'm prone to looking at it is when there's a breakaway down there or there's any mistake, we haven't got anybody picking that spare player up on the right hand side. Now I don't know whether it's system, player, or whatever, but that needs sorting quickly. And I don't know whether Rude needs to. Well, I personally think we do need a right back, and I would have JJ as a sub left-sided defender because I think his confidence was battered, obviously during the Cooper era. Again, I'm not going to mention Cooper's failings or anything like that, but I think his confidence was battered. And some players are really good in certain systems.
I think we've just lost Clibo there. I don't know if he's lost his internet, but I like what he was saying. Scooby says, drop Rubkin an email to come on the show, call him out to see if he's got the balls to do it. Lee Joseph says, if Mads goes to Chelsea, he's just going to sit on the bench. So if he goes, get him back on loan. I'm going to drop Clibo out only because his signal seems to have gone. I'll be adding Nick in very, very shortly. Don't forget, if you want to click on the link, you can come in and give us your views as well. We welcome all views or comments in there. I've asked a few people about Ben Chilwell, but really I'm using the name Ben Chilwell to just use an example of a quality person who isn't in the Chelsea squad, who is available. And I think we need players of that caliber to come in short term till the end of the season. So I want to know who you would sign, whether it's on loan or permanent. Because a lot of players, if you want to sign somebody permanently, you're going to look at Leicester in the bottom three and go, it's a 50-50 chance. It's probably a 60-40 that we may be in the Championship next season. Do I want to sign for a Championship side? And that's not the positive sort of place to be in. So I think we've got to be realistic about who we can get in there. I've seen a few people, Nathan saying here about Maguire, again, is too slow. Maguire's probably better than anything we've got in the defence at the moment, Nathan, I would say. So maybe he's a shout that Andrew Hurst is saying in there. So keep getting your views in, get your comments in. I'm going to add Nick in now. Nick, welcome to the show. Hope you're well.
Evening, mate. I hope you had a nice Christmas.
Yes, thank you. I hope you did too as well, Nick.
Yeah, it came and went, didn't it?
Good. I mean, there was a lot of positives from yesterday, Nick.
I think it was positive from Boxing Day as well, to be perfectly honest.
Maybe
I think we've played well.
Minutes.
I think we've played well for both games. I mean, let's be fair, Liverpool ain't going to be dropping too many points this season. They're a different beast this season.
But if you look at, well, I hear what you're saying, Nick, but, and this is my thing, and I've had this debate today with Reedy, as you can imagine, is yes, we did okay against Liverpool, I think, for 45. Yes, we did really okay against Man City, and got no points from those. But just 7 days ago, when we played Wolves, we didn't do well, and again, we got no points. We're 3 games for 3, albeit 2 of them were tricky, but the Wolves game really, really let us down. We've got Villa on Saturday. Now, you look at that on paper, that's harder than playing Man City at home.
It's never an easy place to get a result at Villa Park at the best of times. So we'll see a bit. I mean, the Wolves game, what's done is done. You know, the players are to blame for Wolves. Not one of them can actually come out and honestly say, hand on heart, they gave it their all. You know,
it was almost the same set of players, Nick, yesterday as Wolves. It's frustrating because I've seen a lot of people say, if we played like we played against Man City, we'll be fine. And I keep saying, yeah, but we don't play like that week in, week out. And we don't play like it for 90 minutes that often.
Well, that's what I was just about to say. You know, 45 minutes against Liverpool, I'd say a good, 45, possibly 50 minutes against Man City. We need the full 90. We haven't had a full 90 minutes performance all season. That's what we need.
Yesterday, but we lost.
But again, silly mistakes yesterday.
Silly mistakes, yeah.
You know, Jacob, I think last 2 games he's done well. He's come back from his injury, and bearing in mind he only had 90 minutes of under-21 football before those 2 games. He's come in, he's done all right. Made a bit of a hash of their first goal. The second goal, for me, you can really lay the blame on Justin for not picking up his man. Again, how many times have we said that this season?
I think, Nick, that second goal, I've watched it back several times today. I think there's blame all over the back line for that one because Christensen loses the ball or goes in for a tackle on the halfway line.
Mm.
So he's slightly at fault at that point. But to give him credit, he then is the person who's trying to tackle or do something against Haaland when Haaland nods it in. If you watch that goal back slowly, I don't know what Code is doing. I don't know who he's marking. Vestergaard's in no man's land. As you say, Justin's getting nowhere near anybody. And Christensen's pegging it back, trying to help out. It's like we fell asleep again.
Yeah, but as I say, we can't be shocked and surprised over it. We've seen it no end this season, whether it was Manchester City or it was Brentford or it was Newcastle. Even Palace away, we were making so many silly mistakes. Now, for me, we need a minimum of 5 players in this window. We need 2 full-backs, centre-back, a right winger, and I would argue we're going to need another striker because I can see Edward going back. He's not getting any game time. Why is he still here?
Edward is a waste of a space on the bench because nobody, Cooper, Rude, nobody's playing him, so he might as well not be there. He's just making the numbers up.
And I think we'll end up losing Buonanotte. I think he'll end up going back in January, being sold.
Do you feel, Nick, something's happened with Buonanotte because he got dropped for 2 games? Then I don't think he looked at it yesterday. Do you feel like maybe he is going back?
I think he is. I think Brighton are looking at selling him. But the good thing about it is, as much as I'll be sad to see Buonanotte go, because I do like him, I think there's definitely a player in there. It does free up 2 loan spaces, doesn't it? So,
yeah, which is what I think we need. And I said, Nick, I picked Ben Chilwell's name out only really as an example of somebody who clearly is Premier League quality. He's proven that, and he's played for England. He's not in the Chelsea squad, and he's in the under-21. So therefore, there's a big chance of a club like Leicester getting him in on loan till the end of the season. And he is better for me than people we've got at the moment.
There is, but let's be fair. Would he be welcome back? That's what you've got to ask yourself. He didn't leave on the best of terms. And let's not forget what he did in the FA Cup final when he thought they got the winner. People don't forget stuff like that, Phil. Do you know what I mean? And
if he helps us win points and stay up, Nick.
I could see KDH coming back on loan.
You see, I can't, because I don't think you can sell a player and then loan him back. I just think FFP and all that, they'd be all over that.
And I can see Maguire coming back.
I think Maguire's the shout.
I think he'd be good. He's got the leadership.
Better than anything we've got.
100%. See him coming back. I don't think we should sell Hermanson either. I think that'd be stupid. I think that'd be stupid, even for silly money. He's as much as good Stolarczyk is. He's not yet a number 1. He's not. He's a good number 2. 100%. He's a good number 2. But you'd be throwing your best keeper away. It'd be a bit like what happened when we chucked Schmeichel to the Wolves, didn't we? We did that, and then we used Ward and stuff, and look what happened. It threw us under the bus. It's not worth it. You keep your best players as much as you can.
Yeah, Terence saying he's going to Spurs, talking about Buonanotte. You never know. He could. I think he's done enough last season and this season to earn himself a move somewhere, to be fair.
Yeah.
Dorco says Edward is probably better than Daka. Well,
no, he's not.
Rude,
I'm not Daka's biggest fan, but he's better than bloody Edward.
Yeah. Chilwell says no thanks. Says Jordan in there. KDH injured, and where would he play? I would agree. KDH, I'm not really sure where he'd slot into the current setup at the moment, Nick. That would be part of my.
I'm throwing other people's. I mean, there is players out there that you could possibly take a punt on, but like you said, though, Phil, would they come? I mean, for me, it's going to be silly, right? And I'm going to say this now, and everybody's going to say no thanks, but I've always liked Mason Mount. It's not getting any game time at Man United. I think he'd do well in that midfield. Can take a set piece as well, which is something we've been lacking for a hell of a long time, even since when Maddison left. We've been, missing somebody that can whip in a free kick or whip in a cross.
Yeah. Richard says, so you would bring Chile back, who's shut on the club, not much fitness, injury prone, no thanks. I get that. I was using Ben Chilwell as an example of somebody who is clearly of the right sort of caliber, who is available. Because, again, Nick, part of what I'm saying is I don't think I think a lot of Leicester fans will be hoping we go and spend and buy a £20 million player, £30 million player. I think those sorts of players will look at Leicester at the moment in the bottom three of the Premier League and go, I'm signing for this club. I'm not really sure I want to come here to a club who probably the bookies will have us down now as one of the three to go down. So players will look at Leicester and go, I might have 4 months in the Premier League and then I could end up with 2 years on my CV in the Championship. So we are only so attractive, is my opinion, to players who want to sign on a permanent.
I mean, you wouldn't have heard Pipes yesterday because you obviously were the game. I didn't go yesterday. I watched it on the box, but Pipes was saying yesterday that his contacts in the club are not worried about PSR. So, and obviously there's that change of ownership document that's been flying around. It wouldn't surprise me, Phil, if they think, do you know what, go for it. Because let's be fair, we're in that position now where you got to either stick or you twist. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think we are at the roulette table, Nick. I do agree with you on that. Because I genuinely think if we get relegated this time, we're in a pickle.
The EFL will
have us, and I think we'll be in a pickle. I think players will go. Vardy will be done age wise. Mads will get sold, etc., etc. We'll have players on too big wages who aren't good enough, etc. So I am with you, Nick. I think it is the time to go all in now in January and do it early.
Well, you'd like to think so, but let's be fair. This is the same club that signed a player on deadline day and they were 14 seconds late. So anything can happen. But if we're scrambling around on deadline day, still looking for those 5, the fullbacks, the centre backs, and all that lot, then I'm concerned. Because they should be getting their business wrapped up earlier. I mean, I would have thought Rude knows what he wants by now and get on the list of what he wants and who he wants. So,
well, I hope, Nick, this is where I hope Rude's pedigree and connections around the game come good. And other managers like Enzo and, the Peps of this world look and go, right, Leicester are no threat to us in the Premier League, but we know that they've got the best training ground, one of the best in the country. They've got Rude, who understands football and wants to try and play football. So, yes, we'll loan you this player for now. And that's what gets us out of jail, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, but like I say, when we were in this sort of position under Pearson, when we stayed at the Greatest Escape, we brought in like a Robert Hoof, for example, didn't we, in that January? And he was one of those pinnacle players that kept us up that season. Him and Morgan was solid. There's always players like that knocking about.
You're right, Nick. In January we've had some good transfers in, and we've had some bad ones, haven't we, over the last 6-7 years? I'm thinking good ones, like you say. Huth obviously was good.
Ndidi.
Pardon?
Ndidi was another one coming in the January window.
Yes, he did. Damari Gray, for his time, was decent, a January transfer. But we've had some stinkers, and I'm going to chuck you the name Ryan Bennett, which I hope you all sadly remember.
I'm still haunted by that name, Phil.
I'd even say when we signed Suter and Victor Christensen last time we were going down, and Tete, we had a spin there at it, and they didn't pan out at all, did they, that season? I know Victor.
Well, Tete had a great debut, but then we didn't see him. I think he went on holiday after that debut.
At Villa, of course, wasn't it? Who we've got on Saturday.
So anything's possible, Phil. Anything's possible, but we'll see.
Yeah, Tony Smith says Ryan Bennett, anybody. And Jordan says, if we don't act in January, Rudkin needs to go. I think we simply have to, Nick, because I look at the league table today. We've played everybody now once. And if we carry on at the same rate and do the next 19 games, we'll be nowhere near safe. We'll be down, won't we?
No. But also what we've all got to keep hoping and remembering is we're in a little mini league. For me, you can throw your Palaces in this mini league with us. Everton, I don't think are out of it yet. Wolves, yes, okay, they've won 2 on the bounce, but for me, they're not out of it. All it'll take is to get a pummeling off of a big boy, and they're back in it again. That's their confidence.
There's still just
Downwards.
6 teams in this league, isn't there? In our league, just.
Yeah, you can throw West Ham in there as well. So there is plenty in there that if you just get on a run, even if it's like I don't know, you get a win and a point and stuff. Just those 4 points could be enough just to keep you out of trouble, but also give you the confidence to kick on for the next one and the next one. You've seen what we can do when we're on confidence. Anything's possible.
Here's a question for you then. Lee says, I've seen a few people say this, would you call Tom Cannon back? He's not at Sheffield United. He's at Stoke, isn't he? But back up for Vardy. So would you get Cannon back?
No, I wouldn't. It's all well and good. It's all well and good scoring a few goals here and there in the Championship, Phil. It's a different.
It is a different league.
Look, I use Mavrovidi as an example, right? Last season, he looked fantastic in the Championship. This season in the Premier League, I ain't convinced he's a very, very, very good Championship player. But whether he can cut it in the Premier League, I'm yet to be convinced.
Yeah, Andy, he is at Stoke. Gary says as well, nice to see Will Alves making his Premier League debut. Wonder what his future is. I don't know. I think that few minutes yesterday, Gary, was just to give him that literal right tick. You've got your debut. There you go, and let's see what happens. It's going to be a big thing for him to step up that quickly in there. Wayne says, why can't Daka score for Toffee? He didn't get very long yesterday, Wayne. I thought he should have come on for a bit longer. If we got him
against Liverpool.
Yeah, he did miss 2 against Liverpool. But again, people will pull Daka. I'm one of his biggest critics, as you know, Nick. I don't rate Daka.
I know you will.
But Vardy had chances yesterday. If that had been Daka missing those, we'd have been...
For me, Vardy's the GOAT, and he'll always be the GOAT. But I called him blind yesterday for missing that. If he just got his head on it rather than his foot, that's in.
Yeah, he had a couple, didn't he? And he was there or thereabouts. It was a frustration yesterday. It was a frustration. Yeah. Listen, Nick, thanks so much for joining us. Just before you go, give us a little score prediction. I'm going to get some score predictions for, obviously, the trip to Villa. So what is a result at Villa that you go, that's, believable?
I've always said this. It all depends on what team we start. I mean,
well, let's assume we start the same team we had yesterday, Nick. Let's assume we play somewhere near as good as that.
I think, honestly, if we could put that performance yesterday into a 90 minutes of football, for me, there's no reason why we can't at least take away a point. There really isn't, because it looked like they were ready to scrap and claw and fight again yesterday and Boxing Day. So if we can do it, there's no reason why we can't.
The next question, Nick, is will they put that performance in? Which Leicester will we see?
I'm hoping that we do see that Leicester. So I'm going to say yes, because forever the optimist, and I'll go for a 1-1. Because Villa haven't been brilliant the last couple of weeks either. They've kind of gone under the radar. They've had some sticky results.
Yeah, indeed. They've had some ups and downs. Listen, Nick, thanks so much for joining us. Have a great new year as well.
You too, mate.
We'll
up the Foxes.
See you in 2025. Yeah, cheers, mate.
Mate. There you go. Bye.
Thank you. And thanks to Clibo who joined. And Ryan, I'm sorry, you've just clicked in there at the end. I've got to finish the show. I'm really, really sorry, Ryan. I need to get some comments in. Let's get some score predictions in here. Wayne, thanks for watching, Wayne, and Happy New Year, Wayne. Hope you had a good Christmas. 2-2, he's saying at Villa. Nathan saying a 4-1 win to Leicester. There's been some strange results over the years at Villa, so you never know with Leicester. Jordan says, would be very happy with an away point at Leicester. What do you think the score will be? Let us know in here. Clibo, thanks so much for joining us. I don't know what happened to your connection, but do click on again. It was great to get your views. Clibo on YouTube says, Villa will press us harder than Man City did. Man City were nervous. They were nervous a lot. Michael says, we need all 3 points to get us out of this relegation zone. Rude is waiting for the Man United to phone him. Again, they're not having a great time. Andy's going 1-1. Gary's going 1-1. Chain's going 1-1. Alex says, well, everybody going 1-1 apart from Michael, who's gone 4-1 to Villa. it is going to be one of those that could go anyway. We're going to get into the habit of losing and heads will drop soon, says Mark, unless we bring in some quality. Couldn't agree with you more, Mark, because if, and I hope we don't lose at Villa, that's 5 defeats on the trot. And I know people will say it was Newcastle, it was Liverpool, it was Man City, it was Villa, but there was also Wolves in there. Let's hope we can do something at Villa. It's going to be really, really hard. Jordan says 1-1. And Wayne says, great show. Thanks, Wayne. If everybody's watching this, if you can give us a little like, if you can give us a share, we always like that. There is more live shows this week on Leicester Fan TV, of course. Don't forget, on Thursday, there'll be a team tactics talk with Sam and Reedy at lunchtime. And then in the evening, Simon and Jono will be live with a Villa preview show. So for me, I hope you all had a great Christmas and a very, very happy New Year. Let's hope that team we saw yesterday turns up against Villa, because if that team can play like that against some of the teams who aren't as good as Man City, we'll do okay. We may just even get out of this, but it is starting to look like another great escape is starting to be needed if we don't get some wins soon. So for me, Phil, thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. We can't do it without your views and comments, and we'll see you in 2025.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow Leicester Fan TV on all socials.